Hello, greetings to you all. Yeah, welcome back to my channel. This is Net Solution. In this video, I'll be showing you guys how you can create a code that will allow the user to enter their country, and once they enter their country, it will print out their country code. Okay. Now I'm going to use Python to write the code. I'm going to use Python. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Now, for example, here is it. It says enter your country. As you can see here, enter your country. Okay, now let's assume I enter UK as my country. Once I enter UK and hit enter, it says the country code for UK is +44. Okay, and it still asks me to enter my country. If I enter USA, it tells me the country code for USA is +1. Okay, now what if I enter a wrong country? Let's say US is not a complete sentence, and hit enter. Now it says the country couldn't find the country US. Please check spelling or enter another country. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys how I was able to create this code that will allow the user to enter their country and it will tell them their country code. Okay, now let us move on. Let me tell you how I was able to do that. Okay, now let us create a new file, a new Python file. Okay, if I click on new to create a new Python file, then Python file, let me name this country. Okay, I'll name this country. Okay, now I hit on enter. I have created a new Python file. You can see it here, country. Okay, now we're going to write some code here, and any code we write here will be saved as a model, so we can import the model later. Okay, now let's say in here we are going to write some code. Okay, code equals to a dictionary. We are going to save it as a dictionary. Okay, now we are going to type in some dictionaries. When we type in a country name, then we input the country code. That's how we are going to do that. Okay, now using the string method, I type in USA. Now USA, I save it to be +1. Okay, USA is +1, comma, then maybe UK is +44. Remember, you're going to Google every country and get their country code. This is how you're going to save them and access them later. Okay, enter any country with their country code. Let me say Nigeria. Nigeria is +234, comma, then Ghana is +233, comma, just be doing it like this and then do many countries. Like I have added few countries. Add as many as you can. Okay, so that any country that was inputted, it will able to tell the user their country code. Okay, now I have saved this as a dictionary. We are going to save this as a model. Now this is a model, and you're going to import this model later. Okay, now let us create a new file. Okay, now I have saved this as a model. Let's check if there's an error. Okay, there's no error. Okay, now I'll close this. Now let's create a new file in the same directory. You can see in the same directory. Now let us create a new file. Here in this file, we're going to create another file. I can name this anything. Let me say my country. Okay, now I hit on enter. This is a new Python file, a new module. Okay, now here we're going to type in some code and import the previous module. Okay, now let's say import the country. Remember, the name of that module is country. Okay, you can see it here. Import country. Okay, now once I have imported the country, now the next step is to write some code, is to call the code. Okay, now let us allow the user to enter their inputs. Let me say user is equals to, using a string. Okay, inputs, user is equals to string. Then let's tell the user what to do. Let's say enter a country. Okay, now we are going to check what the user entered. Okay, now let's say user okay, let's call the country dot code. As you can see, this code here is the variable we created, that is the dictionary we created right there. Okay, the code is a model to the country. This country is a model, is a model, and the code is a method. I'm sorry, the code is a method and the country is a model. Okay, now country dot code, then we pass in the user's input, which is user. Okay, now we have passed in the user input. First, let us print this. Let us print this to see the results. Okay, now it says enter a country. Let me say USA and hit enter. Okay, type error objects. I'm sorry, I think this should be a list. Okay, let's run this once more. It says enter a country, USA. Okay, you can see +1. Okay, it says +1. Now let us make this to be more robust, so it will tell the user the country code you entered is +1, or is this, like now it just printed out +1. Okay, let us make it to tell the user some things. Okay, now inside here we're going to write some things inside the string method. The country code for, we are going to use the f string so that we can pass in some variables inside here. The country code for user, okay, is, the country code for user is country.code, then brackets user. Okay, now what will happen here is that it will say the country code for the user input is the code. Now let's run this once more and see. Okay, right here it says enter a country. I enter USA and hit enter. As you can see here, it says the country code for USA is +1. Okay, now what if the user entered a wrong country code? Let's run this once more to see. The user enter US instead of USA. If I hit enter, it's gonna break our code. It has break our code because the user's input does not exist. Okay, now it gives us a key error. It gives us a key error, but we should write a code that will tell the user, you have entered a wrong country. Okay, now to do that, we are going to use what we call try and except. Try this, and then we are going to indent all these things inside the try block, then put except. Now what will happen here, it will try this code, then accept any error. If the Python encountered any error, it will tell the user, hello, so things have happened. Okay, now we have to tell Python the kind of error we want him to encounter, and then print some results. If you encounter key error, print this. Now as you can see, the first letter started with capital letter, even here started with capital letter because it's a class. Okay, now accept key error, print this. Okay, print couldn't, using the f string because we are going to pass in some variables. Okay, couldn't find the country. Now we pass in the user's input, couldn't find the country, user. Okay, comma, please check spelling or enter another country. Okay, couldn't find the country, user. Please check spelling or enter another country. Hope you understand what happened here. This user stands as the user input. If the user inputted USA, so this user here will be USA. So it means couldn't find the country USA. Please check spelling or enter another country. Okay. Now let's run this once more and enter a wrong country. Let's say that US again. Remember, US not a full statement. Instead of USA, the user entered US. Now once the user hits enter, it says couldn't find the country US. Please check spelling or enter another country. Now as you can see before, this break our program, but now it couldn't break our program again because we have used the try and except block to accept the key error and then print out a result. Okay, now we are supposed to do one more thing. As you can see here, this US is in small letter. It simply means us. We should make it to be a capital letter so it can be readable and understandable. Okay, now to make this a capital letter, we are going to come here. Okay, first let me show you guys something. Or wait, let the user enter with capital letter. Let me say the user try to use a capital letter. As you can see here, I have on my keyboard to be a caps lock. Okay, now if the user enter USA with capital letter, this won't work because the dictionary was said to be small letter. Okay, if I enter USA in capital letter, remember in Python it is case sensitive. It will not find the dictionary. Okay, once I hit enter, it says couldn't find the country USA. Please check spelling or enter another country. While USA is present, but you couldn't find it because I used a capital letter instead of a small letter. Now we're going to handle this. Inside here, we're going to use dot lower. Okay, now once I have used dot lower, this means whatsoever the user will enter here will be rewritten in a lowercase. Okay, it will turn it to a lowercase. If the user writes in a lowercase, normal, it is normal. Now if the user writes it with a capital letter, it will turn it to a lowercase. Okay, now let us run this once more, and then I will write with a capital letter USA. As you can see here is in capital letter. Let us run it again and see if it will give us an error. Okay, now you see it has printed it out. It says the country code for USA is +1. Okay, it didn't give us that error code again because I have using the dot lower to translate what the user have written in lowercase. Okay, now let us turn this to be capital letter. Okay, now to do that, we are going to come here and say, remember, if you do the same thing here, it will turn this to a, okay, if you do the same thing here, dot upper, user dot upper, it will turn this to uppercase, even though you type in lowercase, and what the country dot code is receiving is in uppercase, it will still not work because the thing was written in lowercase. So here, if I should run this, why this is in uppercase, let's see the results. Now USA is in capital letter. Let's write in small letter. USA is now in small letter, right? Now let us see what will happen. If I hit enter, it still tells me couldn't find the country USA. Why? Because I have made it to be an uppercase here. Why it's supposed to be a lowercase? Okay, now to solve this, let's remove this. Remember, we want this to be in uppercase. Okay, now we are going to come here and put that dot upper. Okay, now it will turn the whatever the user enters, it will turn it here in uppercase and still leave this one to be in lowercase. Okay, now this one will not be printed out, rather the one that will printed out is this. Remember, what will be printed out here is just the country code. Okay, but here the user's input, which is the country, we printed out, and we are going to handle it to be in uppercase. Now let's run this once more. I put USA in lowercase, then hit enter. As you can see here, it says the country code for USA is +1. As you can see here, it has turned it to an uppercase. Even though I write it in a lowercase, it has turned it to an uppercase. Okay, and still print out the result without an error. Okay, what if I enter a wrong country code? Let's see again. It will still give us a lowercase. Okay, it says couldn't find the country US. It's just like us, couldn't find the country us. It doesn't have meaning. It should be in uppercase. Now to do this same thing, we are going to come here and add it dot upper. Okay, once you do this dot upper, it will turn this in uppercase. Now let's run this once more and try it. Okay, US, and hit enter. It says couldn't find the country US. As you can see here, it has written it in uppercase. Okay, now this is how this thing works. Now we should write a code that should allow the user to keep on entering their country. Like after I must have entered a wrong country and it says the country I entered does not exist, my code just ended. my program ended. Okay, you should ask the user to enter the country again. Okay, you shouldn't have ended the program. I have to come here to run the program again before it will run. Okay, now let us write a program that will keep on asking the user to enter the country, and once a user enter the country, it will tell the user the country code and still ask the user to enter the country again. Now if the user will keep on entering the country, yes, the user wants to quit the program. Okay, now to do this, we are going to use a loop. Now to use this loop, we are going to use what we call while loop. Okay, now while true. Okay, remember the T should be in capital letter. Okay, while the others will be in small letter. Okay, now you put an indentation. You are going to indent all these blocks to be under the while loop. Okay, now to indent this, I will highlight them and click on tab. Okay, now I have indented all of them and they are now under the while loop, and the while loop works once the condition is true. Once the condition is true, it will keep on looping what is in the block. Okay, once this is true, it will keep on looping everything that is under there. Okay, now we have set the condition to be true. Okay, we have set it to be true, which means it will keep on looping. It will keep on looping. Okay, now let us continue. Okay, now let us run this once more. It says enter a country. I enter USA and hit enter. It says the country code for USA is +1. It still asks me to enter a country again. Now I can then enter a country, UK, and hit enter. It says the country code for UK is +44. And it still asks me to enter a country again. As you can see, it keeps on asking the user to enter a country. Okay, if I enter Nigeria and hit enter, it says the country code for Nigeria is +234. As you can see, it reads it in capital letter while I passed it in small letter. Okay, it tells me Nigeria in capital letter. Okay, now the country code for Nigeria is +234. It still asks me to enter a country again. I enter Ghana. It says the country code for Ghana is +233, and it keeps on asking me enter a country. If I enter a wrong country, let be anything at all, and hit enter, it says couldn't find a country, HG. Please check spelling or enter another country. It still asks me to enter country. Even though I enter another wrong country, it still tells me the country code I entered is wrong. Okay, now the thing keeps on looping, but there's no way to end the loop. It keeps on asking the user to enter a country. Okay, but the user cannot quit the program. Okay, now to quit this program, we are going to use the if statement to check if whatever the user entered, maybe you are going to set a particular alphabet. Once the user click that alphabet, it will quit the program. We are going to use the if statement to do that. Okay, now back to our code. Here is the user's input. We are going to use the if statement to check what the user entered, and if the user enter a specific number or key or alphabet, we are going to do something. Now we're going to use the if statement. If user is equal to, we are going to use the double equal to. Okay, the double equal to means equals to, not one equal to means assignment, to assign a value inside a variable or inside something at all, but double equals to means equals to. Okay, if the user's input is equals to q, let us use q. Is equals to q, we want to do something. Now as you can see here, we indented this block, we indented it. Okay, we are going to write this code under the if statement. Means anything that is here will be controlled under the if statement. Okay, if the user enters q, we are going to quit the program. Okay, now quit. Let's rerun this thing again. Now I hit this, enter a country, UK, and hit enter. It says the country code for UK +4. Now what if the user click on q? Okay, now we want to quit the program and hit enter. As you can see, the program has ended. It didn't have the user to enter a country again. The program just ended, but it doesn't, the code did not end the way it should be. At least it should tell the user a goodbye message. Okay, now let us do that. Let us write a program that will tell the user a goodbye message. Now you are going to print goodbye. Okay, let's run this again and enter q. Hit enter. It says goodbye and the program ended. Okay, now what if the user enter the q in capital letter? Let's see what will happen. What user enter the Q in capital letter? This is a capital letter and then Q. Okay, let's see what will happen. It still work. As you can see that it still work. Okay, this is how the program works. Okay, this is how you can create a software that will be printing out and generating the user's country code. Okay, so this is how it works. Here you are going to write a model. Here is the model. You're going to write a model with country names and their country code. Write as many as you can so that no matter any country the user enters, it will still tell the user the country code. Okay, thank you guys for watching my video. This is Net Solution. In case you're new to my channel, you can click on that subscribe button and also like this video. Okay, click on the subscribe button so that the video can reach as many as it can. So when you click on the subscribe button, whenever I upload a wonderful video like this, you'll be one of those that will receive a notification that wow, a wonderful video has been uploaded. Okay, thank you guys and remember blessed. Okay.